Hi, my name is Karen, and this is an Introduction to English Grammar Part 23, Parallel Structure. We're going to be talking this presentation about parallel structure. This presentation is one that I adapted from a colleague of mine. Her name's Jennifer Van Dyke, and I used to use it for really low-level grammar instruction, but I've learned over the years that many people struggle with making things parallel, and so I've incorporated it into this much higher-level course because I think it's so important. So the first question is, what does the word parallel mean in other contexts? So it's usually a straight line that runs side by side. They never touch. So in extended use, we could talk about things that are pointing in the same direction or running in the same way. Okay, so we've also already learned that a phrase is two or more words that does not contain both a subject and a verb, and a clause does contain both a subject and a verb. Okay. A sentence, a simple sentence, has one independent clause. A compound sentence has two or more independent clauses joined by a coordinating conjunction. And a complex sentence, which we haven't yet talked about in this course, contains one independent clause and one dependent clause joined by a subordinating conjunction. We'll talk about that more next week. So parallel structure, we're looking at balancing the grammatical structures of words, phrases, clauses, and sentences. So things that are alike, so nouns with nouns, prepositional phrases with prepositional phrases, and so on. Okay, this colleague of mine who did this presentation first used this book, Big Pumpkin by Erica Silverman. She uses some sentences out of it to describe or to demonstrate parallel structure. So we're also going to use some sentences out of this book. Okay, so in my earlier classes, my lower level classes, when I discuss coordinating conjunctions, I give them the acronym FANBOYS to remember the names of the coordinating conjunctions. So if you remember these, then all the rest are subordinating conjunctions. So it stands for, and, nor, but, or, yet, so. Okay, so here we have some examples of some things being coordinated, okay, with the coordinating conjunction and, again from that book. Once there was a witch who wanted to make a pumpkin pie, so she planted, weeded, and watered. Here were coordinating verbs. The vampire and the ghost thought about pumpkin pie, so they stepped aside. Here were coordinating prepositional phrases. Are the vampire, ghost, and mummy helping the witch because they are supportive or because they are hungry? Okay. One day the witch planted a pumpkin seed, and the next day she plucked a pumpkin. Okay. We can also use the conjunctions that correlate things. I have trouble with that word. Not only plant, but also water the pumpkin seed. Okay. Neither the ghost nor the vampire enjoyed pulling, but they felt like eating. Okay. That's why they pulled so hard. Here we have a verb plus a gerund phrase. Okay. They successfully plucked the pumpkin, not because they pulled fast, but because they pulled hard. Here we have two adverb clauses. Either you pull as hard as you can or you leave as fast as you can, said the witch to the vampire. Here we have parallel sentences. Okay. The rule is that we're not supposed to mix forms. So we would not like a sentence like Mary likes hiking, swimming, and to ride a bicycle, because they're not the same. Mary likes hiking, swimming, and riding a bicycle. Here we have parallel structure. Okay, the production manager was asked to write his report quickly, accurately, and in a detailed manner. Again, not parallel. Quickly, accurately, and thoroughly. Okay, here are some paragraphs. Go ahead and take a look and try to decide for yourself what you think is better and where the error in parallel structure lies. Okay, so if you look at the first one, we have waited, completed, and lacked. If you look at the second one, we have waited, completed, and his motivation was low. So we're not coordinating things that are the same. Okay, a parallel structure that begins with clauses must keep on with clauses. Changing to another pattern or changing the voice of the verb, like from active to passive, will break the parallelism. Okay, the coach told the players that they should get a lot of sleep, that they should not eat too much, and to do some warm-up exercises before the game. So again, the purpose of parallel structure is to try to make all the elements the same. It's much easier on the reader to read through things that are parallel. The coach told the players that they should get a lot of sleep, that they should not eat too much, and that they should do some warm exercises before the game. So a student asked me this week how to check our papers for parallel structure. The way that I check mine is I go and I do a search or a find for the coordinating conjunctions. So I might do a search for and or but, and then I check to make sure that the items on both sides are parallel. Okay, here's another choice for you. The salesman expected that he would present his product at the meeting, that there would be time for him to show his slide presentation, and that questions would be asked by prospective buyers. The salesman expected that he would present his product at the meeting, that there would be time for him to show his slide presentation, and that prospective buyers would ask him questions. Okay. So here we have that he would present, that there would be, and that questions would be asked. We have a change now in that structure where it's not parallel anymore. So the better version is the second one, that he would present, that there would be, that prospective buyers would ask. Okay. Here's another example. Dictionary can be used for these purposes to find word meanings, pronunciations, correct spellings, and look up irregular verbs. The dictionary can be used for these purposes to find word meanings, pronunciations, correct spellings, and irregular verbs. Okay, yes, I am an Oxford comma user, which is when you put a comma at the very last thing before the and. So again, if you do a search for and, then you would be able to look at the things that are on both sides of the and. So in this case, we're not coordinating clauses, but we've made a list. Okay, if we take a look at these, then the first one you can see is not parallel, but the second one is. Okay, so this is a pretty short presentation. The purpose is that when we're joining things together, you should make sure that they're all the same. Okay, if you read through the book The Big Pumpkin, or A Big Pumpkin, the purpose of that book is that if you want to eat pumpkin pie, then you should also help with the planting and taking care of the pumpkin.